Hey, welcome back to By Its Cover. I'm Katie,
I'm Jake.
and this is a podcast where we pick out books by their covers, read them,
Consume them.
read them, and talk about them.
Consume them.
Ingest them through our ears,
And nose and mouth.
not our nose,
And fingers.
through our fingers.
Sometimes your armpit, like where you put the book up in your armpit to like hold it from being dropped. Sometimes we ingest the books in our armpits.
Straight through our armpits.
What's our book today, Katie?
Well, you read The Pale House Devil by Richard Kadrey.
What's the cover look like?
It looks like a horror book. There's a big kind of, I guess that's a Victorian style home. I'm really bad at knowing the styles of homes, but to me, my husband would probably like this house, so I would call it Victorian. Mm-hmm. He likes Victorian homes. It's dark. At the very top of the house, there's like one of those little windows it looks more like a clock tower or a castle. I don't know. But there's this red window up at the top. It's kind of circular. And then in the doorway, there's a pair of people. One of them is kind of standing. Well, first off, they're their silhouettes, but they're white. Like instead of like a black silhouette, it's a white silhouette. And one person has their elbow kind of on the other one's shoulder, kind of leaning on them. And then the one standing there with the elbow on the shoulder has a little tiny face drawn on, it looks like. Almost want to like get a magnifying glass because I think it's a black skull. But it's really hard to tell.
Based on the theme of the book, it probably is a skull.
Yeah, I would say a black skull then. And then there is some in the background behind the house. Like, the cover of the book is kind of this red-orange. And there's a bit of like yellow glow around the house with some red-orange kind of like tendrils coming out everywhere. Yeah. And it says, a thrilling, inventive, pulpy, bi-coastal romp with a bloody, beating heart.
Whenever I hear the word romp now,
Smut.
I think of the book The Mistress, where
Oh my God.
the author described those types of scenes as romping.
I forgot about that.
And
That was a good episode.
It was
An episode.
It was fun. Okay, let me see the book.
Okay, here. So, why'd you pick this book?
Because it's really thin.
That's a good reason.
So
That's how I pick out books.
I was at my favorite bookstore again, and I was like,
What can I read instead of Girlfriend on Mars?
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. I thought I need to read something not Girlfriend on Mars. So let me pick out a
Called
book
it.
that's not Girlfriend on Mars. We were actually together when I picked out this book.
Oh, yeah.
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 But besides the obvious, I'm trying to read more horror.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to get scared by horror.
Has it happened yet?
No. I read something recently that if you're not scared by horror, maybe horror is just not for you. And I thought, that's interesting and an interesting take on it because there's a class of people that get really into things and there's a class of people that think objectively about the situation that they're in while they're reading or watching TV or something. Horror movies are good. I don't necessarily gravitate toward them because I don't like jump scares.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like not fun.
Cheap tricks.
Although I do like to jump scare my wife. But the bam, you're married. She's like, whoa. I
don't know why. I thought of Shotgun Wedding when you said that.
No, backyard wedding.
It was a backyard wedding.
So I picked this book out because it was thin. It's not Girlfriend on Mars. And it looked good. Like maybe I would get scared. And it's a short story. And I think that's an underrepresented form of media.
Yeah, it is. So tell me about this book.
I honestly love this book. Really, truly love this book.
Did you honestly and truly love this book?
Honestly, true. So sometimes when we record, it's hard to keep it going. Go back to Way of Shadows. So honest and truly,
was a hard day.
Thanks everyone so much for listening to this episode of By Its Cover. We really appreciate all the support that you've given us over the last few episodes. It is beyond our wildest dreams. Please subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you listen to this podcast and share with your friends. Okay. So this book follows two main characters, Ford and Newland.
Okay.
And I can't remember which one's dead. I'm going to say Newland.
Probably the one with the black skull.
Probably the one with the black skull.
On the cover, yeah.
One of them is unalive.
Okay. Not dead, but not alive.
Right. Which is really rare in this universe. As
Okay.
in, he's one of a few people. They don't advertise themselves. They don't age, but they also can't eat or drink, otherwise they throw up.
Man, that reminds me of Here Lies a Vengeful Bitch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ford and Newland are friends, but they're also assassins.
Oh.
Yep, they are hit for hire.
I feel like an assassin is a perfect job for someone who's unalive.
Their sort of motto throughout the book is, I kill the living and I kill the dead. And I guess neither of them can go to jail for that, because if you kill someone that's already dead, then you're not murdering somebody. But if you're an undead, you're already against the law. And so killing someone is sort of like what you're supposed to do. I don't know.
It's illegal to be undead.
There's no classification for what you are as undead.
Right.
So how would you be in court if you're not alive? I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, the scene opens. They're both in a car. It's described as they're both wearing those ski masks with the holes for eyes. Uh-huh. They have a special pair of goggles that they put on, and they can see the aura of the people. They're supposed to murder someone that's approaching this person that's dealing something. And so what I mean is someone walks up to this dealer and says, yo, let me get some crack. And so they buy crack and they leave. This next person walks up and they want to sell jewelry to the person that's selling the drugs.
Okay.
And that's who they're supposed to kill.
Okay.
And when they look through the goggles, they realize that she is pregnant.
Oh.
And her aura is good, not bad. And they only kill bad people.
So then why is she the target?
So why is she the target? Once they realize that she's pregnant because she has two auras.
Yeah.
They realize that the person that hired them to hit the girl, the woman, is probably
the father. Oh, no.
You are the father.
Oh, no.
So they go back to the person that had hired them and they kill him.
All right.
And then he comes back alive as an undead.
Uh-oh. So then they have to kill him again.
The other guy kills him. So he dead.
Yeah.
But now they're on the lam because underground, no one wants to hire hitmen that hit them.
Fair.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see why that would be a problem.
So they travel by train from New York to LA.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, we'll have jobs in LA. People like us there, yada, yada. They're on the train and some preacher boy knows what Newland is apparently. And it's like, you're going to do a job for me. Otherwise, I'm going to tell the police that you're undead, you know. And so Ford punches him in the face. And then Newland pours some zombie juice down his throat.
Ew. Ew. What is zombie juice?
Zombie juice is what Newland has to eat. It's a mixture of ashes, holy water, grave soil, and some other stuff that zombies need to eat in order to survive.
Not brains.
Correct. It staves off the brain
cravings. Okay.
Yep. But if you drink it, you'll turn into a zombie. So they turn
zombie, not undead, not non-alive, unalive.
All the same. Unalive, dead, zombie. I'm going to use all three of them interchangeably.
So Newland has cravings for brains?
Newland does not because he drinks the zombie water.
But if he didn't?
If he didn't, he would.
Okay.
Yeah. So probably zombie.
Yeah. Okay.
But they give it to the preacher boy.
Yeah.
They're like, you're going to try to frame us. Well, guess what? You're going to be the thing that you fear the most, which is being undead because it's against your religion. And so preacher boy wakes up. He's like, what did you do to me? Blah, blah, blah. Because Ford knocked him out.
Yeah.
And then Newland poured the juice down his throat. So preacher boy runs away because he's all scared. He's like, oh, I'm going to be against Christ. And he goes and offs himself.
Oh.
And Newland and Ford are like, well, I guess he took care of that problem himself.
Dang, that's cold.
Savage shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was great.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you.
It's a horror book, right?
That's exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
So then Newland and Ford get off the train in LA and no one's giving them jobs because they just murdered the guy that hired them.
How do they know that?
The underground.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like Grandma Network. It's like, oh my God, did you hear that Newland and
rumor
Ford?
has spread.
Like, it's like underground Facebook posting. Like, oh my God, I heard that Newland and Ford killed their boss.
Okay.
All right. So no one's hiring them. They're going to leave for
Mars.
somewhere else.
Okay.
They're going to leave for somewhere else. I think it's like San Francisco or something.
Okay.
Like their next stop is going to be somewhere else. And then they got a knock on the door from Tilda. Tilda walks in, very young woman, and is very nervous about approaching them. Says, I have a job for you guys. I need you to kill something, and I'm going to give you 20 grand up front.
Something.
And Newland and Ford are like, yo, girl, you should chill because we're not that scary. We only kill bad people. Also, do you want to go to the beach? And she's like, yeah, I'll go to the beach. So they all go to the beach, and then they're like, hey, we've ever shot a gun before? And Tilda's like, no, I've never shot a gun before. And so Ford or Newland shows her how to shoot a gun. And it's very much like they're her uncle all of the sudden. And you find out that she is the granddaughter of Mr. Manfield. Mr. Manfield is a billionaire, super rich, but also super asshole. He's very controlling. He doesn't want anyone messing with anything. He's just an asshole. And I'll describe him more later. But for now, Tilda says he's an asshole, but he's also my grandfather. And so I have to do what he says.
Okay.
So Newland and Ford are like, okay, well, what is it that you want me to kill? And she says, I don't know what it is, but Mr. Manfield will tell you when you get there. So they start driving to Mr. Manfield's. On the way, they stop for a burger, and someone comes out, jumps out from behind a car and shoots Newland, and then a couple times. And then Ford shoots that guy. And then Tilda's like, oh my God, Newland, you're going to die. And then Newland's like, I'm already dead. So just give me some of that zombie juice. And Tilda kind of has a little freak out.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, they've been nice. We went to the beach and they taught me how to shoot a gun. So I guess I'll be okay with this.
Okay.
Book logic.
Yeah.
Book logic in every book we read, book logic.
Yeah.
I love it. So they go to Mr. Manfield's. Now Tilda knows that Newland is dead. They arrive, and the first words out of Mr. Manfield's mouth is, which one of you is the dead one?
Oh.
And Newland's like, that's me. And then Mr. Manfield tells them, hey, there's something in this house that I used to live in when I was growing up. It's unknown what it is, but it is killing people. And I want you to go kill it. And Tilda says, yeah, it's why my mom ran away.
Okay.
And my dad ran away.
Okay.
She's a little naive. They dead. The thing ate them.
Yeah.
Also, actually, Mr. Manfield used her mother as bait to try to kill the thing.
Good father.
No, grandfather.
Yeah, I know, but wouldn't he be her mother's father?
No, her father's father.
Oh, okay. Okay, so use the daughter-in-law then.
Yeah, father of mine. Anyway, so Mr. Manfield uses Tilda's mother, May, as bait to get the thing out of the basement, and then tried to kill it with a bunch of like holy water priests and Reiki people and or Wiccan people. And then the father realizes what the grandfather did and offs himself. And the way that Richard describes Mr. Manfield's house is insane. There's crosses everywhere. There's different like tribal symbols everywhere. There's also a bunch of dead bodies hanging from trees all around the property. And when Ford and Newland go with Mr. Manfield to go get equipment and learn more about this beast, Mr. Manfield takes him into a chapel, which is covered in skin.
That's disgusting.
And sinew and bones and just absolute disgusting stuff.
Yeah.
Mr. Manfield's still an asshole. He's like, I'll give you $1 million to kill this thing if you do it. But also, if you don't do it, I'm going to kill you both. And
that's motivation.
They're like, okay, well.
Except, but I'm already undead, says Newland.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Manfield knows this.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tilda, Newland, and Ford go to the Pale House, which is where this thing is.
Okay.
And they go in, and they're ready to kill it. And it comes from the basement and it's massive. This thing has like wiggly, tendrily arms, and it's a big slug thing with teeth inside of its tendrils that will suck a whole person alive into its gullet and eat it and rip it to shreds as it does it.
I'm getting like a visual of a mix between like Jabba the Hutt and Cthulhu.
I would describe it as Jabba the Hutt. Okay, you know those sandworms from Tremors?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, not Dune, Tremor.
I know. For a second, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dune.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
but yeah,
no.
no, yeah. I do know the ones from Tremors
And
as well.
Dune, it's the same. So
very similar.
It's imagine that, but with a bunch of like tentacles willy wobbling,
Okay.
inflatable arm flailing tube man around on top of it. Is the way that I describe it, or the way that I remember him describing it.
Okay.
So they shoot it a lot with different things: silver bullets, lead bullets, gold bullets, UV bullets. Everything they have. UV bullets actually hurt it, but not before it almost kills them, and so they leave. They go back to Mr. Manfield. Mr. Manfield's like, "You guys are losers. You suck. You can't kill it. You're useless, swine. If you come back again, I'm going to take $1 million off the price."
Of $1 million.
Whatever. He's
Okay.
just an ass.
Okay.
So the three of them go back, and Tilda now is sort of beside herself. And she's like, wow, maybe my mom didn't run away. Maybe she's dead.
The light bulb goes
The
on.
light bulb goes off. They fail again
Okay.
because they made this circle, protection circle, and the thing goes in it, and they use salt to finish the circle. And then it gets stuck in there, but also there's an earthquake, which knocks something over, which knocks the salt away. And so then, or chalk.
Really, really good timing for an earthquake.
Perfect timing. They go back, and Mr. Manfield's like, you guys suck. You're not good at anything. Why did I hire you? I could have done it myself.
Then
right?
why didn't you, man?
And Tilda's like, but Papa, there was an earthquake. He's like, I don't give a damn about no earthquake. Just real piece of work.
Yeah.
So then they go back again, and they fail again. This time, though, Ford's arm is totally like hurt, and Newland is knocked unconscious somehow. They're both hurt.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Newland's got a knife in his chest.
Oh, no.
Somehow. So they go back, and Mr. Manfield reveals the ultimate plot that he wanted this thing dead so that he could eat it and become immortal and young again. But he'll eat Newland's heart now because that'll also be just good enough.
What an ass.
So he goes to like open up Newland's chest with the knife there. That's where the knife comes from.
Okay.
And then Tilda hits him upside the back of the head with a lamppost.
Take that, Grandpa.
Take that, Grandpa. And Ford wakes up because he had his arm chewed off, and he's like, oh, in pain a lot.
Yeah.
And Tilda goes, gets the medical kit.
Please
helps
tell
him.
me that they feed Grandpa to the beast.
Wait.
Okay.
Ford wraps up his arm. Newland gets cured. And then they feed Grandpa. They feed Grandpa little soot sprite looking things.
Oh.
And they're like a disease, like a bug. And they eat you from the inside.
Oh, I see.
Grandpa's on a wheelchair, by the way. So they unplug Grandpa's wheelchair. They roll it up to the pale house. They shove it in the door, and they're like, fucking see you later.
Yeah.
And the worm thing eats Grandpa.
And then the things inside
And then
of
the
Grandpa
things inside
eat.
of Grandpa eat the worms.
Wow.
Or the worm.
Eat the, yeah.
The beast. The pale house devil.
Yeah. That's a fun book.
It's such a fun book. Like Richard Kadrey, imaginative.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a short story, but it was packed full of content.
Yeah.
Absolutely packed.
I would read that.
You should take it home with you.
I will.
Everyone should read this.
Everyone. You heard it here, folks. Everyone should read this book.
Yeah, everyone should read this book. I mean, it's not overly gory. I don't consider it to be horror, but I'm broken.
That's right.
I think maybe I like horror if this is horror, because this is good.
Yeah, your whole life, all 12 years of your life, you were like,
I
I
know.
don't like horror.
The three
and
of them
now
I
you're
could
like,
read.
oh, wow, horror's fun. Speaking of horror books, though, you know what you could read that would be horror? The horror books I gave you.
Oh yeah,
They're right up there. I see them. Nosferatu by Joe Hill.
Yeah, I need
And
to read
Wraith.
those. Yeah, I have a book buying addiction,
Yes, you do.
but not a book finishing addiction.
Better get that fixed because we've got a book reading podcast where we finish books.
Yeah.
Yep.
Katie, what's our next book?
I'm not reading any more books until you read Girlfriend on Mars.
Oh, no.
I read it.
I've
been waiting.
Finish it.
You have to finish it.
Okay. Next episode of By Its Cover will be Girlfriend on Mars.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, it'll be another book that I read. That's not Girlfriend on Mars.
Turns out this is when he pulls out Nosferatu by
Yep,
Joe Hill.
Yep. I don't know why I don't want to finish it.
I know why.
Why?
You'll find out on the next episode of By Its Cover.
All right. Bye.
Bye.